So anyhow, I wanted to continue talking about this idea of bigotry being a double-edged sword, or allegation. Let's say it's a double-edged allegation. So you point the finger at one person and claim that they're judgmental and they're a bigot. Remember, there's how many fingers pointing back? Is it three? Well, your thumb technically is not a finger, so it's still pointing the same way. So actually, you got three fingers pointing back. You point your finger at somebody, you got three fingers pointing back at you. So when we're judging people, you see there's a good judgment, there's the discernment. That you don't pick up the wrong kind of stranger out there. You're discerning, but you are not condemning. So there's a good way to look at judging, and there's a bad way to look at judging. And it all has to do with tact. And the tact I see at some of these Trump rallies is not up to par. It's not up to snuff. It doesn't, fit the criteria for the kind of tactful, proper judgment that I'm alluding to here. Because if you're going to correct somebody, that's the kind of judgment you want. You want to do it with the right spirit. And that right spirit is not claiming somebody else is being really hateful when it's obvious to everyone except you and your ilk that you're being hateful. And a lot of these Trump protesters, I found out from a black woman I was talking to after the Trump rally. She was a big Trump supporter, by the way, up in Redding, California. She was telling me that they were hiring off Craigslist. I guess George Soros money or something. They were hiring these people to be protesting at Trump rallies. $30 an hour, I think she said, depending on your experience or something. But anyhow, this is what's going on, folks. And this idea that we're just going to throw out this term bigot and let it stick is nonsense. Because anybody that knows the man Trump says that he's not a bigot. They say he's not a racist. And by all the evidence out there, he's not. But they keep on throwing it, and it's sticking because the media is covering it. They're covering this stuff, and you can see which side of this whole thing they're on. The media likes Hillary Clinton. And this is what I want to talk about more. I want to talk about what I started alluding to about the business interests and the concern that Trump should have. So anybody out there that is serious about electing Trump, then this is a very smart man, okay? He's shrewd like a fox. This guy knows business, and he knows that there's countless business interests that are very disturbed at the prospect of any kind of mass deportation. And here's the reason why. All the immigration, that Obama's opened the floodgates, and his predecessors, this started decades ago. And they just keep ramping it up exponentially, allowing more. They destabilize nations and use it as a pretext to bring people in. So this is what it's all predicated on, all this immigration. Well, all these people, they're war-torn countries. Don't you have mercy and compassion and all this stuff when they're the guys that wrecked up the joints, okay? For a reason. They need the chaos. They need the crises, so they have job security. They stay relevant. They stay in control. They keep their power and their money. They stay as dictators, all this Illuminati class. They don't care what you are, Republican, Democrat. They don't care, communist, socialist, they don't care any of that stuff, capitalist. They just don't care. All they want is to stay in power. And so this is how they do it. They get us at each other's throats. This is a demonic scheme, okay? They've got us at each other's throats when really, if we could just get the demons out of our way, clear our eyes, okay, take the scales off, we would see clearly their plan and what's going on here and how they've been so successful. This is a last-ditch effort also to prop up the economy, bringing in all these immigration, because it puts an unnatural demand on all kinds of consumer goods. And who can say it doesn't? It does. It's a matter of fact. Okay, if you deported all the illegal people in California tomorrow, landlords would suffer immensely. And remember, I'm the guy that's always out there not just bashing landlords, but all these other people, these special interest groups that are colluding together because they have a common interest. And that interest is to jack up housing costs of real estate companies, of which that's my field of interest. So I'm slamming my own, co-workers or whatever, my own kin. Okay, I wanted to get into developing affordable housing, so I wasn't really interested in being a salesman so much, but it's still my field of interest is real estate, housing for the poor, the downtrodden. And then you got the lending institutions. So, all these people are going to suffer. Every single retailer out there will suffer. All the food industry will suffer. The jewelry industry will suffer. The auto industry will suffer. All these people will suffer under any kind of mass deportation. And Trump knows it. So either he's a ringer or he better prove he's not a ringer by doing some fancy footwork in the media. He better use the next opportunity he can to assuage the concerns of all these countless business interests out there, okay? Because if he doesn't, like I said, I'm going to think that I'm being deceived and he's a ringer for Hillary. Because right now, all the media keeps spewing out is how Hillary's so far ahead in the polls. They're already trying to anoint her president, okay? That's what's going on here. And they have concerns. Remember, they're part of these special interest groups too. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't mind entertaining the notion of rocking it a little and people talking about rent control. Oh, you anti-capitalists, how dare you? Even though we've had fascist crony capitalism, ruling, they've squashed all the rent control. So there's no control. It's like squashing the Public Utilities Commission and saying, no. Look, we want, $1,000 for what you used to pay $50 for. Tough. We can do it. We're a special interest group. Yes, us, our stockholders, our shareholders, the people that work in the energy industry, we have an interest. So it's good for us. So shut up. It's capitalism. Just shut up. We don't need any oversight. We don't need any rules and regulations. We don't need you anti-capitalistic people telling us we need rent control or we need energy controls or any of this kind of stuff. You're against free market. That's what their claim will be. You're against capitalism, right? You're against supply and demand, of which it has nothing to do, not based on that at all. We could double, quadruple the amount of available housing, vacant available housing in America tomorrow, and you could still see your rents and mortgages go up. You say, well, how can that happen? Well, that's why. That's what fascism is. That's what crony capitalism is. They manipulate markets. They fix the prices. They decide. They say, well, you just deported all those people? Well, guess what's going to happen? All you people that think your rent and mortgages are going to, guess what they're going to do? They're going to do that. They're going to manipulate it back up. They're going to say, well, lost profits now. You think Donald Trump is so great and he did this mass deportation? Guess what? We lost 30% of our renters. Guess whose rent is going up 30%? Yours. We're putting it on your back. That's the way it's been working, folks. That's why you've got to understand the hidden dangers of tolerating this. So how far is tolerating things good? So this is what you get, okay, by being so blanketly tolerant of everything. What do you get? You get concerns about men going into the women's restroom where there's children, okay, and where does it end? Where does it end? You got NAMBLA out there speaking openly. We got a pastor of a church right here in Chico that just called for lining up all the gays and in a firing squad and blowing their brains out here in Chico. And he's not being arrested. That's a death threat. That's an open death threat. If I said that, I would expect the FBI, the police, the sheriff, somebody to come and arrest me for making death threats. I would never do that. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, not even unintentionally. I can't understand it. And then this pastor's going to call himself a Christian? He who is without sin throw the first stone. That's what Jesus would tell him. He would say, with the measure you judge others, that same measure you too shall be judged. So often these guys that speak out so hatefully and vehemently against this guy's sin, oh, he's gay, he's condemned by hell and all this. No. That's not what's written. Not at all. Not at all. And so often these people are the closet homosexuals out there, like this killer turned out to be. Okay, they were the ones that had the false pride. They said, well, you know what? I should have at least been out of the closet to my friends and family. I mean, if you can't come out of the closet to them, who can you come out to? I can't expect the whole world to accept me as a gay or homosexual, maybe. At least it'd be nice if they were respectful to me and get, let me have my dignity, of which I am a big proponent of. I don't love anybody any more or less because they're gay. And I don't respect anybody more or less because they're gay. Okay, or any other sin that you're engaging, because you're a money lover. Hell, I'm a money lover too. Aren't we all money lovers? But we've got to learn to hate our sin. Like Jesus said, pray that your sin will find you out. If you were molested as a child, okay, so many of these people turn gay because they were taken advantage of. I know when I was a young man, repeatedly, I had guys trying to pick up on me, and I never went for it. I never went the distance. I never let them defile me. What I thought would have been defile, I never let it happen. But they tried. But if I had allowed that, how would it have changed my psyche? I don't know. Maybe I would have gone to the other side. But a lot of these guys come from that. They've got parents that are ambiguous about sexual. Oh, it doesn't matter, son, if you want to turn into a girl, whatever. Daughter, if you want to turn into a man, whatever, whatever floats your boat and suits your fancy. This attitude where, tolerance, there's no end to it. So where do you draw the line? Nobody knows. This is why I'm so opposed to inequality. If you prescribe to inequality, then by default, you don't prescribe to equality. Okay, if you don't prescribe to equality, then by default, you prescribe to inequality. That's it. And you've got no standing. You've got no clout. You're nobody to say, well, you know what? It's okay for me, and I think this degree of inequality is okay. But I can't say that guy, because he's just enslaved all those people and, all these terrible, but he just believes in inequality more than you, and you've got no standing. You've got no clout to tell him that he shouldn't be believing in inequality to that degree, that he should only believe in it to your degree. You got nothing. So you've got to believe in equality or inequality. There's no middle ground. And people that believe in inequality, you can't inherit the kingdom of heaven. How are you going to live in a society in total full peace and prosperity and safety and security and freedom and liberty for everybody there? If you believe in inequality, you can't do it. I believe fully in individuality. I mean, if every snowflake is individual, for crying out loud, we certainly are. But you get my point, you get my drift. What I'm trying to get across to is there's no end to this whole, bantering of terms about that, you're a bigot or you're intolerant. And, we got NAMBLA saying, well, we think it's okay. We think that men should be able to have sex with boys. And this is big in some cultures of the world. It's pedophilia, okay? A child's brain is not developed until they are of age, the age of majority. At least the age of consent. Okay, you cannot do this. It is totally socially unacceptable. This is why we have laws that protect the children. If we fail to protect our children, we fail. But all these people that want to just keep raising the bar of tolerance more and more and more, you're losing all your standing. You're nobody to say, well, we got to draw the line here. And that's what Trump is saying. He's saying, well, I'm tired of, just tolerating. We're going to bring in terrorists here. You're going to bring in ISIS cells or ISIS sympathizers. We're going to tolerate these people here in America, and we don't expect these kind of things to take place? Ridiculous. And you think by outlawing certain type of gun, that's going to fix the problem? No. When I was a teenager, I remember these posters were very popular. When guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns. And that's very poignant and succinct and true. That's the way it works. There's always markets for stuff. I mean, outlawing cocaine, has that helped people from getting cocaine? We all know it's all about money. You got enough money, man, you can get anything. Laws don't matter. People say you can't have your cake and eat it too. And I say, well, wait a minute. What rich person out there isn't living their life like they got their cake and they're eating it too? So let's define what this metaphorical cake represents. What are we talking about here? Be specific. This whole, this attitude where, we don't fix things until they're broke. That's wise, prudent, smart. That shows common sense, right? You're an idiot if you maintain your car. In other words, if you change your oil, in the logic of these people and their philosophy is that you're a fool. you're a fool to change the oil in your car. Even though you can read the science behind why you change the oil in your car, you can read about crankcase oil dilution and understand if you don't do it at the intervals recommended, then your engine is wearing twice as fast, 3 times. You let it go longer and longer, more and more. So instead of taking, 100 miles off the life of your engine, you just took 1,000. Instead of taking 1,000 miles off the life of your engine, you just took 10,000. You